volunteer gardener. These days, gardens can be found in unexpected places. Julie Burbelia takes us on a tour of a downtown rooftop producing squash and tomatoes, figs and flowers, all with the help of enthusiastic young gardeners. And Tammy Allgood offers up a tasty side of hot tomato grits. This and more. Stay tuned. First, making the most of outdoor spaces in a downtown setting.
Well, we are in the middle of a beautiful community garden, but not just any community garden, it's on a roof. It's on the roof of the McKendree United Methodist Church, and I'm with Heather Stewart to find out all about it. Hi, Heather.
Hi, welcome. Thank you so much for coming up to our garden.
It's a multi-purpose community center for you all.
Absolutely. It's a play area for the daycare kids. Being a downtown daycare, this is the only outside space that they have to run around and play and enjoy green stuff. So we use it a lot for the daycare kids. We use it a lot for our youth programs at the church as well. They will do camping events out here. And then the food that we actually get, we use a lot for snacks for them, but as well as a Tuesday lunch that we have for the homeless for Nashville's downtown community. So.
Well, I saw this beautiful kale that you have here, the lettuce you've been harvesting for your lunches, and then there are all these great herbs. So tell me about some of the things that you're growing up here.
Well, and I will say that last year was our first year up here, and so we sort of experimented about what we could use. With it being a lunch that serves 20, 30, 40 people at times, we knew we needed a lot of the same thing. So we grew a lot of tomatoes last year. We grew accidentally a lot of jalapeno peppers because they love it up here. And so we try to focus on things that we could use for salads for the lunch. Right now we still have lettuce and kale growing from this fall, and they've been growing from the fall and won't stop. We can't seem to kill the kale. And then for this summer we've planted a lot of the same, more onions, tomatoes, things that we can use for those lunches.
Fantastic. Well, the kale and the lettuce certainly are show a great benefit of being up here where it's extra warm, but what are some of the challenges being on a roof?
Heat is certainly a challenge. We're very fortunate to partner with Peter Anderson, who is an organic gardener here in town, to build our boxes, and that was really the first challenge because most raised beds are much shorter than this. Peter was smart enough to know that we would probably need a lot more depth for dirt to protect against the heat, so that was one thing that we looked at. Another thing is the wind. It gets really windy up here, and because of that we have tried to plant some vines to grow up these railings here to sort of block that wind and get really creative about doing that. One thing that we are in big need of right now is to get a sunshade to cover this area because, as you can tell, the kids love playing up here, and it's only May and it's already pretty warm up here. Another challenge of being a community garden is organizing volunteers, and some very simple things that we hadn't thought of are, for example, what do we do with the key? You know, we obviously don't want to make 100 keys to give out to all of our volunteers who graciously spend their time coming up here during the summer and watering our plants or harvesting them. So finding a key lock, it was very simple things like putting a calendar together for people to come water and to know who was going to do what on what day. So organizing volunteers is always a challenge, but it's a good challenge to have.
Well, and very rewarding because I'm sure it brings a lot of people together.
Absolutely, and it's really heartwarming for me to see people in the congregation will post Facebook pictures about the tomatoes that they picked out of the garden, and that's what it's about. This is not anybody's particular garden. It's not the daycare's garden. It's not the church's garden. It's everybody's garden. So we want people to feel like they can come up here and plant whatever they want to plant and harvest what they want to harvest and take care of it and enjoy it.
Well, Heather, one of the most amazing things up here is this incredible mural, the backdrop for your whole garden.
Yes, and we're very proud of our mural to have it. This was literally an empty canvas for years and years and years, and one of our members of our congregation had the vision of painting a mural, and she reached out to a local artist, Beth English, and we also have our resident artist at McKendree Church, Buford Winfrey, who has painted several murals on the inside of our church building. Beth and Buford made this great partnership and teamed together and came up with this vision of doing a tree of life that can shine from anywhere in downtown. It's interesting to be walking down some parts of Nashville on Broadway and look up and see this tree in the middle of downtown on this big giant wall. So it's been a real blessing.
And these little benches are just darling and seem to be perfect. Where do they come from?
They are perfect. In fact, they were made just for us by two of our daycare parents, Joe Barnes and Jacob Morris. Well, we have installed 2 rain barrels that catch a lot of the rain. We're very fortunate to have a roof space that has a wall with gutters on it, which I understand a lot of rooftops aren't as blessed as we are. So we've installed 2 rain barrels that catch a lot of the rain, and it's really amazing at how much water it can accumulate in a very short amount of time, especially with all the rain we've had lately.
Well, and you've really been working on some of your larger planters too, and some of the things you're putting up there, and I imagine that's really got to be a struggle to get something that is supple enough to bend in the wind and survive up here in the heat as well. So what have been your choices for your large planters?
Well, and for our large planters too, and a lot of the focus is what's going to be fun for the kids. I mean, we really want this to be such a learning environment for them. And one of our daycare workers, who also happens to be a member of the church, came up with a fabulous idea to do bamboo. They use a lot of bamboo already in some of their projects for the daycare, and so this gives us an unlimited source of it. So we planted bamboo in 2 of the larger planters, and then in the third one we've planted a fig tree that we hope is going to grow and produce all sorts of figs for the kids to eat.
Oh, super fun. And I saw them earlier looking at all of the little bugs they were finding and the ladybug larvae, and just having a really fun time with the bugs. And who knew that you would have so much wildlife up here on top of this roof?
We were really surprised by that. Last year during the summer in this bed back here, we had sunflowers growing, and they attracted, again, Peter was very smart, and that he, planted different types of plants to attract bees and insects. And we were kind of skeptical about whether or not we could get them to come up here, because we're 5 stories up in the middle of downtown. I mean, we're surrounded by the Batman building and the Renaissance. And, it was amazing at how many bees and just great insects we could attract. And just this morning, the kids were finding all sorts of ladybugs around everywhere. So it's been surprising. Birds, we get a lot of birds up here. Surprisingly, we also get a lot of weeds from things that blow in from I don't know where. I don't know how the birds and the bees find us. I don't know how the weeds find us, but they do.
So, and that's another job that you have for volunteers and for little fingers and larger fingers as well. Who knew you would have to be dealing with weeds way up here?
Way up here.
It's just great to see all these kids up here and see these adults gardening together. I know it's a lot of fun, and I'm sure that every day up here is more fun than we can even imagine.
Absolutely.
Well, this year, why not share your garden with a lot of other people? If you want to know how to do it, stop by McKendree Church and see what they're doing up on the roof. I guarantee you that your conditions are probably never going to be as difficult with the weather and the heat and the challenges as this garden. So this year, get out there, make some friends, and enjoy your community gardens.